Wow. What did you guys think about that intro, huh?
That was pretty good.
That's all new. Yeah.
It's almost like we're professionals now.
What was that, Dom?
It's almost like we're professionals now.
Yeah. I was just going to say we had a video with Adam Nasir and Smarter Contact, and it was our first one of the Talk Data to Me live series, and it was just so miserable. And then we finally gave the link to everybody so that they come and just hang out outside of Facebook Live on Zoom itself. And then it's like, all right, no big deal. We're just going to record this and it'll be fine. And then it turns out you have to have the recordings in a certain mode in order to have both of the people shown in the video. And so it's just so this is quite the improvement from where we started. So appreciate you guys hanging out today. Where are you guys at? For the audience, I know where you're at.
Yes, is in Bell County. My name's Kenndley. This is my partner Greg. I'm the visionary. He's the integrator. We rock together. So we're trying to get out here and buy as many houses as we can. So
that's awesome. And so, how long have you guys been at it in the wholesale game?
So I've been doing it since 2000, and I learned in 2015. I didn't do anything until 2016. So I don't know, what is that, 5 years now. Me and Greg became partners. I think it's been 2.5 years now. It's coming up 2 years, something like that. I tried to get him the whole time. He didn't want to come, but I convinced him. He had, quote unquote, a little bit of, just wanted to make some more money, I guess. So we got together. He finally saw the vision I had, and then he's starting to own his role big time the last year. So we've been growing because I have too many ideas. He has to slow me down, basically. So
that's cool. So I think that's worth diving into a little bit. So generally, how many deals have you've been at it for 5 years? Greg, how long ago did you join?
I joined in July of 2019. How I got into it initially, I was working in Bangor, Maine, and I was really far away from my family. I flew home for Christmas, stayed for 2 weeks, flew back, and then my daughter called me and she was like, "Hey, Dad, can you ask your boss if we can just come back for a little bit longer?" I was like, "All right, yeah, I'll talk to him." And I went to work the next day, and I quit. Packed up everything in my car, packed up everything from my apartment in my car, and I just drove home. I drove straight.
Wow.
Home. Took breaks.
Wow. I'm family first always. I'm very, very much on that side. And so for those that don't have family, you'll find Dom. You'll find out very quickly how much of a priority that becomes, that you're willing to just change your entire life for whatever, it's whatever it takes, right? And so exactly. that's fun that you took that leap to go be with a friend A, to do something completely outside of your comfort zone, and all in the name of supporting the family. That's really cool. I really like that a lot. So appreciate you sharing. So then from your side, when finding Greg, go deeper into that, because I want people to recognize, I consider myself a pretty smart guy. I'm pretty comfortable saying that, right? And so I have so many faults that I don't even see half of the time, right? And there you need people around you just by the nature of family. There are different people that fulfill different roles, and so you have to have people around you that help you fulfill that role. And so it's cool that you guys, as friends in the past, were able to come together and solve some problems together and make some money together. So how many deals are you guys doing? That's the big question that we always have to ask.
So we're doing between 2 and 4 deals, but I would say our average deal size is a lot bigger than most in the industry. Right now, I think our average is 36 or 35 something. It's like 36,000 each deal, just wholesale.
That's great.
We have 3 flips going on right now. We got some notes for sub-2 stuff.
That's amazing. So then 2 to 4 is there's nothing to be shy about. That is podcast worthy right there. I mean, 2 to 4 deals inside of a 5-year period is very, very, very good. I mean, that's volume, especially at those types. Yeah, those types of rips, exactly. So yeah, totally agree. So congratulations, that's really cool. So then let's go deeper into those rips. Let's open up the conversation. So we came up with a few titles today. One of them is what was the first one? Squeezing the most out of your data? No, what's the first one, Dom? Niche lists, right?
Niching your list, yeah.
Creating niche lists for your market with Gregg Tuck and Kenndley.
Yeah.
Kenndley?
So don't say the D, just Kenndley.
Kenndley. Hey.
Yeah. Cool.
I knew your name, but I had never read your name, and it just threw me off. So,
yeah, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
So creating niche lists. So let's talk about niche lists. That's when we use the word rip, when we talk about profit margin, that is the nature of why you guys are able to do 2 of those big deals on a monthly basis. Let's dive into that. What do you guys do?
So before we get into it, Gregg has no background on anything to do with any of this real estate stuff, right? I just gave him ideas, and I just knew he was the guy to run with it. So,
For sure.
It took us a while to get this going, but about 6 months in, he started really owning the role, I guess. And then, man, he's just a super smart guy. He doesn't even realize how smart he is. I'm very lucky. So you want to go on into some detail, Gregg, on how some of the cool shit that we're doing?
Yeah, I think my second deal was the biggest deal that I ever got. I got super lucky with it. It was we had a $96,000 spread on it. And I was like, man, you know what? We need more of those. How do we keep doing that? Obviously, right? You get your first big deal, you want to keep doing it. And
That's right.
It's proof of concept as well. So I was like, hey, what if we take this deal, we reverse engineer it, we break down everything that we knew about it. We take, at the time I didn't realize it, but those were data points. So I reverse engineered the deal. It was in a trust. It was behind on taxes, and the owners of it were deceased. It was over 65, and the trust dissolved because I think the last guy in the trust, he died without appointing a new successor. So I compiled a list of data based around that, and I didn't even know what list stacking was at that point. But I was wondering, like, hey, how is there a way that we can get all this where we can just, we can analyze all this data with all the same parameters, and then we can just market to those people? Why are we wasting our time throwing our net on a whole bunch of people whenever we can talk to the people who just really need to sell?
For sure. Yeah.
And that's whenever, I kind of heard about a guy named Tyler Austin, and he really taught us how to really market to niche data. And he's over there at REI SIP, really cool guy.
That's right.
But I had the right idea, but I wasn't sure how to execute it. Mm-hmm. So I used the tools and the techniques that he taught me, and that's how we executed it and started getting it to where we can get reoccurring deals every month. And there's a whole bunch of niche data. As you start taking the deeper dive on it, you learn that there's just so much more that you can overlay on your data to where you can really analyze your market and start targeting to the people that you really need to be talking to and getting in front of. And that's where Kenndley comes in. I find those people that we need to talk to, and Kenndley's not afraid to talk to them.
Isn't that the truth? That's amazing. So then, if I could summarize it, you start with the first deal that you've ever done, right? You say, all right, well, I did a deal. Why did I do that deal, right? And so it's a legitimate question. Why did I do that deal? What happened? What stars aligned? What circumstances all had to take place in order for that to happen? What was the offer? You guys are coming in with a cash offer, I assume?
Yeah. We offered what, 90 on it, I think.
Yeah. No, we didn't even offer anything. I called her. I told her who I was. Turns out the people that owned the property we were going after were my landlords whenever I was a child, all the way up to when I was 13. We lived in a really bad trailer park, and we lived in a mobile home there. And I was like, hey, I live next door to your in-laws, the lady who ended up inheriting the property.
Wow.
I live next door to your in-laws. My name is Gregg Tuck. My grandpa, his name is Eladio Martinez.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you want to sell that property over there? It's just sitting there. You're kind of behind on taxes. I want to kind of help you before you lose it. And then she was like, yeah, we want $90,000 for the property. And I was like, okay, I think I could do that. And I think the ARV was 360 at the time.
Wow. Yeah. There you go. That's
46,000 in back taxes. And then when, title popped up and there was a lien on it, she wanted us to pay it, and we just stuck with our, like Greg was like, all right, let's just pay it. I was like, no, let's just, if we don't ask, we can't receive. So let's just say, hey, our offer 90, that's going to have to come out of your side. Not that we were being manipulative or taking advantage of her. It's just, she was about to lose that property. She had, like, we had to hire, there was so much that went in that deal. We had to hire, you know, there was minors involved. So we had to get attorneys involved. There was just a bunch of stuff that had to go on to get that deal done. But realized industry standard teaches you to hit the masses and do 10, 5,000, 20,000 people at a time. And it's like, why don't we just focus on people that have some really big problems, you know? And those are normally the bigger spreads for us. So
for sure. Good for you. I think Rick Corbett asked the question, where was that deal? You go ahead and say, remind everybody where you guys are operating out of.
So we're in Bell County, but yeah, in his area.
It wasn't mine. We do, you know, we share the profit, but we do two separate markets. I'm in charge of my market over there. He's in charge of his market over there. Kenndley still talks to my people over here for me. Really, all I do is go over there and take pictures of the houses and talk to the sellers if I need to, but I really don't usually. But that was in my market. It was in College Station, Texas is where it was at.
College Station, okay. And what's the average price point? So what does a single family home cost in College Station?
Oh man, ever since all this craziness has gone on with COVID and, you know, there's not really much inventory, it's gone up crazy.
It keeps going up.
Yeah, I think a 3-2 over there, a regular 3-2 over there is around between 200 to 250 right now.
Okay, great. 200, 250.
So this one was right on the outskirts of the school, right? So we're real close, and it had some land with it. Not a lot. I think it was 3 acres or something, 2.5 acres.
It was 5 acres.
5 acres, and you know, that was one of the higher selling points because of the acreage. But that guy actually turned around and sold it for $450 because, you know, the ARV was $260 when we ran it, so he made a killing too. We should have taken it down ourselves, but I didn't have the liquidity at the time. So,
you guys know who Cody Sperber is?
Oh yeah.
So Cody Sperber, what's that?
He's the clever investor.
Clever investor.
Yeah, exactly. So in 2010, I bought 100 houses, and I bought the worst houses that you could ever imagine. And so Cody goes up and does this like video that's kind of similar to what we're doing here, talking about our deals. And he's like, you wouldn't believe it. This guy paid $32,000 for a house that I locked up in a contract for $5,000, you know? And so I swear to God, I just sold that house less than 6 months ago for $290,000. And so, you know, like his video was the 5X multiplier, right? That was a really good, you know, margin on that thing. My video was, I bought it for $32,000 and I sold it for $280,000, you know? So it's you don't have to feel bad for making money. That's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, I say this all the time. It's better to have a bird in one hand than 2 in the bush.
Yeah.
Sure.
So then niche list. So then these give me the data points. What were the critical points on this $96,000 deal? A friend of a friend is one good one, right? There's a data point.
Actually, what he's not even mentioning is that another guy tried to show up and sign the contract with her, I don't know, 30 minutes after he got it signed. So we almost missed out on that deal. And that deal paid off all of Gregg's debt, you know, like he had some debt going on, and it was just the deal that put us over the hump, right? Or put him over the hump, and then he was ready to go full time. There was no question about it. His first deal, it was $26 or something, $2,900. We made a lot more because she owned 4 or 5 properties. So
the first deal was $2,600, you said?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was that deal was actually my great grandma's sister's house, and it got her son inherited it, my cousin, and he sold it at a bar for $15,000 to a guy named Artie, that he owns a bar close to my town in Brenham. I couldn't get him over there at all, and it was just, that deal was kind of crazy too, but it took a long time. I was really skeptical about everything, but whenever I got my first check, I was like, hey, you know what? This does work. It's not as much money as I thought I was going to get, but it works.
It's proof of concept.
Exactly.
Yeah. $2,600 is a lot of money just to put that back out there. I mean, most teachers are making that amount of money in a month, and they're working harder than I don't know. We all work pretty hard, but they're working hard too.
They're
so
working
yeah,
hard, man.
$2,600 is a lot of money from anyone's perspective, no matter what. So cool.
I mean, he
awesome,
left a job making, I don't know, well, you were making like $13,000 a month. I mean, I never made money like that, right? Until I got into real estate. I used to make $330 a week, man. I got tattoos.
Yeah.
And I should be living the way I live or have the life I have right now. But yeah, thank God that I was watching an infomercial at 3:30 in the morning, and none other than Dean Graziosi came on, and that's back then when that was going on, right? So that's how I got into real estate. I was just, lying shit on me enough, so I was still gullible enough to believe that, well, they're saying it's possible. So it went on, but yeah, thank God
Good for him.
Real estate, man.
That's amazing. And so many people have that same story. I'm a realtor, and a lot of people use the real estate agency as that same kind of a tool. I mean, the game is leveraging the opportunities that you have, the relationships that you have, the opportunities that you have, right? And so there's no difference between the real estate agency industry and the wholesale industry. A lot of people are using the real estate profession as a way to be able to leverage their station in life, right? They're here and they want to be somewhere else. And so this is a really, really great way to go about that. And there is a lot of money to be made if you're diligent and you really, really become passionate about it as your thing,
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool. So then creating niche lists. Go ahead, Dom.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so do you want to jump into just going into the process, from getting your lists, your skip tracing,
Well, remind me one more time what the critical point. I made the joke about the relatives, and then we started talking about teachers. So remind me what the critical points were for that deal to make the money.
That would be
one of them, which we focus on. But go ahead, Greg.
That would be. It was in a trust, so we know somebody had passed away.
Death.
Probate. Senior, the owners of the real owners on file, the original, they were over 65, even though they had passed away, and it was vacant and tax delinquent.
Vacant, tax delinquent, death, probate. Did I miss one?
And code violations also.
Code violations. So it's got all of them, right?
Yeah, it's got it all.
It's got all of them. So truth be told, I started a data company as soon as I made that same discovery, right? We had, it was a death, a code violation, a vacancy, and past due taxes, right? We did an algorithm after I figured that out. The home seller is 2,168% more likely to sell when they have those 4 data points. 2,168% more likely to sell. That's hard data. That's an algorithm, and so that's critical information. So yes, I agree, Dom. Let's talk about the process. So what did you guys do in order to find this house? What data point led you to that house?
For me, it was I was just out driving for dollars, and I seen the house tucked away back there. And for those of you who don't know what driving for dollars is, you just drive around, and there's applications for it. There's Deal Machine and things like that. You just go take a picture of a house, write down the address, and then kind of look it up, skip trace it maybe later, and then reach out to the owners of it.
So a little quick story about driving for dollars. That's how I brought Greg on. He was just a driver for me, right? Like, I was making money. I was half-assed successful, right? I was doing deals. I was making $150,000, $200,000 a year. So I was doing some deals, and he was like, man, I want to come on. So even though I had a Deal Machine, I said, look, you're going to do it the same way I started. Go get a piece of paper, write it down, and go drive 100 houses and write them down. Actually write them down. You're not going to be able to take pictures, then go to the CAD. I wanted him to go through the same struggles I had, even though we had already had a Deal Machine. It was just my filter. Like, hey, dude, if you're really going to do this, you're going to bust your ass. And the first day, he had 95 houses. He was short 5.
Wow.
He got awesome. Into work, but yeah, he's a worker. But I just wanted to throw that in. Like, he busted his ass, and it was kind of a little side funny story. So
super cool. So driving for dollars. All right, driving for dollars.
I seen the name Gross on the mailbox, and I was like, man, those people used to be my landlords a long time ago. I wonder if it's the actual same people. And I called my grandpa because they used to go to the same church together. And I was like, hey, is this their house over here? And then he started describing the house to me. And I was like, do you think they would sell it to me? He goes, well, I think it belongs to their son, their grandson. And I started looking him up, and he had passed away in February. And
wow.
Yeah. And I was like, man, I want to reach out to his wife. Her name was Joni. I was like, man, I want to reach out to her, but I'm kind of scared because, I don't want her to get offended because this is her family's property. I was kind of scared, but I was talking to Kenndley, and I was like, man, you know what? He's like, don't call him. I was sitting in the car, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to call, and I'm going to see if she'll answer. I called her. It was lunchtime. She was on her lunch break, and she answered the phone. She met with me that afternoon at a sausage company in between my town and her town, and we signed the paperwork on a bench outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then that was such a crazy deal because Gregg had to, with a lot of the deals that we're doing, Gregg has to do a lot of the title work for the title company, because there's just so much crazy shit going on, so that, like, the title company they got stumped 3 or 4 times. Gregg down there themselves, like, nope, here it is, boom, boom. Let's just keep moving this thing along. And we closed that deal 2 days before the new year. So like, it was a good time for him, man. He needed that big.
It was a big roller coaster, an emotional roller coaster. I'll tell you all that. I had to do the affidavits of heirship. I had to find the trust, and then I had to find the attorney that filled out the original trust to see what was going on, to see if there's any more supporting documents, because that's what the title company wanted.
Yeah.
We found him. We talked to him. Then we had to, like Kenndley said, we had to hire attorneys to represent the minors in the interest of the sale. And then her sister-in-law that she hates had interest in the property too, and she's like, I'm not splitting it with her no matter what. And I had to mediate between them two to, I had to talk them into coming up with a deal just so they would agree with the price to see, so she would actually get money out of the deal. It was just a crazy roller coaster, man.
Oh yeah.
It was. I was over my head, but I'm glad I muscled through it for sure.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. So, all right, cool. And so then, so the driving for dollars, it had all the data points that would reflect it. So that's kind of a fun pivot. So then, you guys go back and you look at what deals you did, and then you figure out what. Tell me.
Let's just do more of that.
Yeah, I mean,
simply, right?
Yeah, we reverse engineer the deal. We find out the data points and we see which ones, occur the most. And then those are the data points that we want to pull from that point forward. That's who we market to. That way we're not throwing a bigger net. We're throwing a smaller one. And then, instead of throwing it, over a whole lake, you're just targeting it to where the fish are, right?
Absolutely. So tell me, so you're looking for the smaller net, and then where are you looking to open up your data point? Like where are you going to start that process?
I really didn't know anything about data. Like I said, this is still relatively fresh to me. I'm not an expert in it by no means. In the beginning, Quentin Flores was the one who actually directed us towards Geopoint Data. So we were using you guys in the beginning, whenever we put deals in, whenever we would request data, we got it we put the points in there with you guys would send us a list. But I was like, you know what, I didn't know anything about updating data or keeping it healthy. And then whenever I moved to like Tyler Austin and learning about it, I started learning how to build lists myself. And I was like, man, what if we build these niche lists, like he's teaching us to do? It was just like, I don't know. I felt like all the puzzle pieces fell into place. But now I go on the county appraisal district website. I pull all the data from the county, and then, that's the baseline for whenever I'm picking a market that I'm going to target. And then I just start building those problems based off of those lists from there on out.
Absolutely. Cool. And so then you're using REI. So you go to the county, you're looking through the recorder's office, you're looking through court records. We go to the Supreme Court records in order to get the family stuff. And then the eviction stuff all comes from the Supreme Court, and the probate court is a different court. That's more like the administrative court, right? And so you guys go to 2 different courthouses in order to get all the data, or is it just one for you guys?
In Texas, it's a little bit different. There's justice of the peace, and that's who you have to go through for eviction data.
Okay. Yep.
And then if you want to do water shutoffs, you got to go to the municipal utility district, and there's different, depending on how big the county is or how much population there is, there's more municipal utility districts depending on the district that they're serving. And then if you want to do code violations, there's different townships and stuff like that. You just have to find the code violation officer and you have to email them. And they usually have it electronically. I've only had one that was mailed to me that was a physical copy, but I mean, we just pass it off to a VA and they make it electronic for us so we can stack it with our data.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we can get just about everything from the county, but when we started picking up sub 2 stuff is when we started utilizing you guys' data with like, you know, that's when, like when we say we're doing 2 different deals, we're doing 2 to 4 wholesale deals. I guess total we're doing probably 5 to 6 deals total. But when it comes, you know, the sub 2 stuff is like, you're an extra stack, quote unquote, right on it, and that's, man, it's changing. You know, it's just making it a heck of a lot. It's just another data point. It's like more data, more stacks you get, the more likely they are to sell. So yeah.
Let's dive deeper into that. So tell me about the nature of the subject to data. Well, so let's finalize that. So we got the court records, we're putting the court records together, and then what are you guys doing? Are you knocking on them? Are you calling them? What are you guys doing?
So we have a VA company, right? If anybody wants to source VAs, hit us up, Hourglass VAs. Yep. We do just cold calling, texting, and I will door knock right now. We used to have some guys that door knocked with us, but with Corona, things are they're still scared to come back. But yeah, I'm not scared to talk to just about anybody, man. I mean,
so text message, cold call, and door knocking sometimes, right? That's the text message, cold call, and door knocking when it's available for you guys, right? Cool.
Yep.
Nothing. So I want to kind of make the point that there's nothing new out there, right? It's just knowing what to do and being diligent about it. And then having, you know, there's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. If you guys are into psychology and like self-improvement, there's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. And everybody has the success mechanism. And once you have seen something done one time, then your brain can almost automatically get into the success mechanism without all of the additional thought that you have to put in order to accomplish a task, right? So you know, like Greg with the $2,600, that was the first success. You know, all right, well, I guess I can do this, and now the confidence is up. He's in a flow state, right? And all of those things happen because your brain wants to do what it knows how to do, and you don't have to overthink these things when you're going to do it, right? So that's just fun. I love the psychology of it because that is how this thing works. So nothing new under the sun. You know, it's about getting to the customer and communicating and knowing which customers to communicate with, and then bring up the subject to. Tell me what you were bringing up as the subject to piece.
So I mean, every deal could be a creative deal, whether it's seller finance or sub 2, right? But we're just we start everything from a wholesale standpoint, and then we are able to have multiple exit strategies depending on the lead when it comes in, right? So let's just say our cash offer isn't working, or if we're actually going to flip it, it's not, you know, it just isn't working.
Yeah.
Great. If there is a mortgage in place, you know, with utilizing the bad credit to where they can't refinance out, you know, or they have failed refi or just any of that stuff, you know, that's where you guys are. I mean, there's a potential that it might have came in anyway, but when we can stack that on and just hit that list solely just for that, yeah, we've been getting success with it. Like we're probably getting 3 or 4 leads a week right now, and it's not a lot, but they're. What's different between our leads and most is our VAs push really hard on. I don't want any and everything. I only want real qualified leads. So our KPIs are very low compared to most people. I mean, after 5 qualified real leads, we get a contract. So, you know, we're able to grow because of KPIs. But if we go back just a little bit, when you were talking about there's nothing new under the sun, it's just getting out there and busting your ass and screw some shit up and just trying. You know, that's really all it is. There's nothing new that's going to come out. I mean, they come out with new stuff, but it's all the same shit. So
that's an absolute truth. So then that's cool. And so then we were talking about the data side of it. So you guys talk about let's make sure working hard. Let me see. Hey guys, what are the best way to find a niche list? So the driving for dollars is a great way to create your own list, right? Going to the court. Courtyards.
Yeah.
So driving for dollars, going to the courtyards. Those are all the manual ways to find this deep data. And then you can certainly use some of the Geopoint or the other company. There's other companies out there that sell data, but if you were looking for people that have probably passed away, if you used a criterion of 60 years and older in a vacant house, then you would be able to potentially go and do that same type of data within the Geopoint data infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Or you might be able to do, 85 years and older, and then just start marketing to those people, because that's kind of a similar concept, or use that data to start your search and go deeper in from there. So there's all kinds of ways to create new lists, and let's talk about what happens. So tell me the workflow for your data. So you guys find the deep data, the data that you want to research, the courthouse, the driving for dollars. You got a list of 1,000 leads or whatever that number might be. What do you guys do with it?
Call them first thing, then text them. Well,
you guys, what do you guys put them over to? You got to skip trace them, right?
Yeah, we're skip tracing them to you guys exclusively right now. I mean, everybody does that, and that's not just because we're doing this, right? That's because you're seeing the orders that we're pulling through. I mean, we're skip tracing like 2 times a week right now, and it's because I guess they're all the same, but for whatever reason, we're having success with you guys.
Yeah.
Really
they're not all the same. That's definitely not. I will tell you that they're not all the same with some certainty.
I want to go in on that too. Better.
We're cutting up just a little bit. What did you say? Let's try it again.
Well, didn't Greg do a big test?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Greg. Why don't you? We're cutting out on Kenndley there. So, Greg, talk about the nature of how you guys landed on Geopoint Data as your data provider.
Whenever we landed on Geopoint, we were using. we were getting told to go here and getting told to go there. There's a whole bunch of third-party, data providers, and I was like, man, you know what? Which one is actually the best? Let's do a side-by-side test. So what I did was I took sample data from each one of the third-party data providers, and I put them side by side, and if anybody wants to see it, reach out to me and I'll definitely get it to you. I don't want to say nobody's name on here or hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that, but with Geopoint, they provided the most accurate results. People answered the phones, and the people that answered the phones were the people that we were skip tracing. That's why we went with you guys. It was only logical. It's like, okay, well, if they work on this certain percentage and they, that data is reoccurring, then on a grand scale, it's going to keep being correct. And we're going to be able to talk to the right people more. And the more people that you talk to, according to KPIs, the more likely it is that you're going to get a deal. And that's what that's using you guys. And
completely agree.
To answer your question with the process flow, we put the data in. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to do data analysis to figure out who our prospects are. All the prospects are people that we're targeting with direct to seller marketing. In this case, we use cold calling and we use texting. If we choose them, you're our prospect because you're more than likely going to be reactive towards our method of marketing. So we have our agents call through these prospects. They're either going to tell us yes, they're going to tell us no, they're going to tell us to follow up, or they're going to tell us, hey, quit calling me. I already sold the house. If yes, then it moves on to the next person in line. The next person in line, that's called an opportunity. It's going to get they're going to get passed off to the lead manager. The lead manager is going to filter through these opportunities, and they're going to figure out whether or not the lead is an opportunity or a qualified lead. And they're going to give us 4 answers. They're going to tell us yes, they're going to tell us no, they're going to tell us to quit calling, or they're going to tell us they sold the property. If they tell us yes, then it gets kicked off to Kenndley, and Kenndley calls back, and usually we get a deal out of it. I think out of our qualified leads, our KPI is 5.66 qualified leads per contract.
5.66 qualified leads per contract is next level. And Greg, you're obviously a data guy. What happens to those other 4? Do you track them through and see what happens?
We follow up. Whenever Texas is a non-disclosure state, so the only thing that we have to wait on is we have to wait for the county appraisal district to update the deed. And if the deed type changes and we see that there's a sale, then we know that they sold the property and we don't need to market to them anymore. We're wasting time.
Yep.
The only reason we're not going to market to somebody is if they sold, because if they passed on, they died, we're still going to market to them. But out of those 4 leads, it goes back down to our lead qualifier, and then has another conversation with them, and it gets sent to me. Or long-term drip. We do a 10 days of hell when the lead comes into us. It's 10 days. We're calling them 9 times in the first 10 days. Each day we're calling them 9 times. So
each day you're calling them 9 times.
Yeah, I'm taking it. I want to say we got the idea from maybe Quentin, or I can't remember where we got it from, but I'm pretty sure it was Quentin because he was But we're at 8 o'clock in the morning, we're calling them 3 times. At noon, we're calling them 3 times. At 5 o'clock, we're calling them 3 times. And on the there's a bunch to it, right? So it's the same thing that the credit bureaus are doing. Why shouldn't we do it? It's a collection agency. We're acting like one, basically.
Yeah.
So
we're trying to collect.
We're pissing people off. We're pissing people off.
Yeah. No, I mean, I know that is how this thing works, and so when you put it so succinctly like that, it's like, oh yeah, that makes lots of sense. I've never had it put like that, but you're right. So that's really cool. So no wonder it's 5.66 qualified leads to a closing. I mean, you guys are working with good data. It's coming through as you're making sure that you're getting a hold of these people and you're providing a service, right? So then that's great. So then, all right. So it starts with the data you guys find from wherever you guys are finding it, driving for dollars or the courthouse, and then you push it into Geopoint Data. You call it and you call it and you call it and you call it and you call it. And so now you have some phone numbers that you weren't able to find with Geopoint Data, and then you have some phone numbers that were bad, right? We're not going to give everybody 100% good phone numbers. Especially people that are going through problems, credit, financial, debt, death. You don't have the same phone number when you die. Just so I put that out there. So it's so when our phone numbers aren't found or our phone numbers are wrong, you guys have to get a hold of these people because with certainty these are going to sell. So what happens next?
We got to find the next data point, whether or not I believe with you guys it's mailing address. Maybe we have to change the name and the mailing address to the next of kin so we can get a hold of them. There's a lot of different unique and creative ways that you can utilize to find these people. But the quickest way is to find the next relative, update the mailing address to the relatives, and update the name to that person that you're trying to get a hold of and say, hey, I'm trying to find the owner of this house. We've tried reaching out to him. We can't get a hold of him. If that doesn't work, then we move on to our next step. We have somebody in-house, a VA that I've trained myself to go find contact information on this person. I believe one of the people that I was trying to look up the other day, it was an older man. I couldn't find it. I put his last name into the criminal court records, and his son actually had a speeding ticket, and it had his address on file. So
boom,
there you go.
So we go really deep on deep skip tracing is what I guess people call it, but they're really just private investigators. We're training VAs to be private investigators. We offer that too as a service, but it's a full-time job. I mean, so with Geopoint, we have an 83% success rate. If we send basically 1,030 from what I remember last time we ran it, and then
it cut out. If you send out 1,000, it cut out. If you send out 1,000, then what happens?
If we go and skip trace 1,000 addresses, we're going to get 830 of them back from you guys. And most of the time, that works, right? We're having success that way. So what are we doing with the other 270? We're just basically getting our deep prospector, our private investigator, our VA to go and find the next 10. And then if that does, like Gregg has a process flow on if yes, then this, if no, then this, on just deep skip tracing by itself. I mean, it's a full-time job, but that's where the money is. The real money is in those 270, after you've already exhausted the list, So.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Yeah. So if I could reiterate, so there's top of funnel leads, there's middle of funnel leads, and then there's bottom of funnel leads. And we're not in those. And so you guys are framing it as opportunities. And then what did you call it after it was an opportunity? Qualified lead. Yep. So we use the word opportunity and prospect. So we use lead and then prospect. So it's kind of the same thing. Once they have gotten over the hurdle of yes, they would qualify within the circle of trust of a sales guy, right? Then that becomes that. So you get these people to raise their hand, and so the top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. So you guys are looking for the data, the leads, or the opportunities at the very, very bottom of the funnel, and then you're working them to figure out whether or not you can push them into the qualified lead bucket. And then once it's a qualified lead, you guys are converting 1 out of 5.66 of those qualified leads. That's amazing. And then if it doesn't work, if you weren't able to find the phone number in the first place, or you had a bad phone number, then you're pushing that data back over to your virtual assistant, and they're probably using platforms like TLO or some of the deep, complicated private investor type work that you wouldn't want to do on any kind of scale as a first iteration. So you guys, I salute you with all certainty, because that is the highest and best. That's how we use our data. In not by we, I have partners that are doing this, that they give me all of the KPIs back, and I can see what's happening. And so that is the best practice for all of our customers, that you use Geopoint data, because our data is good on scale. And then once you are done squeezing all of the juice, that was one of our slides, right? How to squeeze the most out of your data. So once you're done squeezing, that's the process, is that you squeezed all of the juice out of the scaled data section, and then you're going out to the micro data section, and then you're really trying to keep on squeezing that water out of a rock, if you will, right? But you guys are getting lots of water out of those rocks.
From every drop. Hey, Caleb Randall here, he's asking, what makes Geopoint more accurate than the other data providers?
I could probably answer that one. So there's so many answers to that. Data is really complicated. So there are a few major data providers: Black Knight Financial, CoreLogic, Peachtree, and they're all basically formations, Atom Data. They're all formations of large title companies and their title plants. And so the counties, as you guys know, in a non-disclosure state, the counties are updating at the frequency that they update. And then they have an electronic release date for every single one of those counties. And so a lot of the data companies are using the county data without the additional required steps in the data process to correct for what the counties haven't necessarily caught, right? So one of the answers is that we're using the U.S. Postal Service and deed files to cross-reference and append all of the new data from the transition, especially when the counties haven't updated. So there's a lot of reasons why Geopoint data is the best data, but one of the reasons is we sell to some of the largest mail houses across the United States of America, and our requirement is to have accurate mailing addresses. So it starts with having a good mailing address, right? And so in order to have a good mailing address, you need access to the deed file, you need access to the U.S. Postal Service file, and then you need access to all the title company files, right? So we have all those files. And then we have to have access to all the cell phones, right? So you have to have, there's multiple telco files that we subscribe to, multiple landline files that we, cell phone and landline files that we subscribe to. And then our algorithms are making a decision of which phone number is the most likely phone number for that homeowner based upon massive data aggregation. So I think I love answering that question, because I know why we are who we are. This is how I feed my family. So I'm proud of what we do. And I appreciate the question.
Even when Skip Trace through you guys, you still give like landline numbers, right? Even if sometimes it doesn't come back, right? Yeah, I mean, that's, come on.
Especially for those dead people. It's a terrible way to describe it, the decedent, right? So I was listening. We have a very, very smart, brilliant computer programmer on our team that basically comes up with all the stuff for us. And so we're having our Zoom, and I hear in the background he's at his grandma's house, and I hear in the background one of those old school voice machines, right? You you press the button, and everyone's listening to the voicemail. That too. Grandma had that one. Yeah. But I'm talking about the voicemails. Like right now, I don't even check my voicemails anymore. They go to Google and they're translated. Yeah. So and now I'm listening to this voicemail machine go up, and it just made me smile because I thought of my grandma's house.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do still give away the landlines and so the cell phone numbers and the landlines. And so that's probably the answer, is that we put a lot of effort into our data, and we do sell to call centers outside of the real estate vertical, a lot of call centers outside of the real estate vertical. And so it's been our job since 1991 to make sure that we have data that is viable for a call center. So that kind of the nature of that helps us have the best data.
Awesome.
Good question, Caleb. Appreciate that. Let's see. Is there anybody else that we wanted to? Oh wow, we got a whole bunch of people tagging Latoya and Rick Corbet. So guys, we're gonna give away. How much did we say, Dom?
$200 here.
We're gonna give away a $200 data coupon. So no obligation. You just get $200 of free data. This is coming from Gregg and Kenny there. So the how was the contest gonna work, Dom?
It's in there now. Pretty much, you need to like the Facebook Live, tag your friends in the comments. Every tag is an entry, and we'll announce the winners at the end of the stream.
We are getting some serious tagging going on. So yeah, tag your friends, and we're gonna give away the money here shortly. But I'm getting a call from a friend, Derek. Derek must not be listening to me on my live stream. I mean, come on, friends. Why you don't know that I'm on the podcast?
Go to bigpeachdata.com, and then when you get your data.
Go to bigpeachdata.com. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, bigpeachdata.com. I forgot about bigpeachdata.com. Yeah. Okay, so go to bigpeachdata.com to take a look and purchase your Geopoint data. And so, what do we have a coupon code for these guys?
30% off for coupon code is sub2 SUB and the number 2.
SUB the number 2 for how much off?
I think it's 30 or 20, whatever it is. I can't remember.
30% off. Use the code sub2 at bigpeachdata.com. That's a cool. I like that name. It's the Georgia peaches. Who likes peaches?
Just southern. It's southern peaches. Basically, everybody likes the peaches down in the south. So
there you go. I can see where that. Perfect. And so, what was the other thing? So, data was squeezing the most out of data. That was probably the majority of what I thought was going to be interesting for our audience, your audience. You guys are really coming up in the world in this world. So, how else do people find you on Facebook and Instagram?
Instagram at Cashflow Kenndley. I think is my handle in there already.
Yeah, it should be.
Cool.
Should be around your name if they scroll over.
Cool.
Okay. Yes.
And then Greg, what's yours?
If you want to reach out to me on Instagram, my handle is at BigSpecGreg. That's BREGG. Greg. And Facebook is just Gregg Tuck, as you see in the box over here. And that's about it.
Cool. And then what would be the the three things that you would want to tell anyone 5 years ago? So you're looking at yourself and you're thinking about, hey there, Kenndley, hey there, Greg, you're a real asshole, but I want to tell you this one thing. These three things, what would you do differently, or what would you try to accomplish?
So it took me 3 years to get my first deal.
It's impactful right there.
I'm all about, the mindset, everything about it. So just get out of your own way and just go take imperfect action. I mean, you're going to screw some shit up. Be okay that you're going to mess some shit up, and just go crush it, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you can do all the studying you want on YouTube. You can go learn, go to seminars. You can do all this stuff. But if you're not going to go take action, none of that matters.
That's right.
You got to take action. That's just my whole thing, is take action.
Totally. So take action. And what was the line you said? The imperfect? What was? I liked it. I just looked at comments and I forgot. Take imperfect action. Yeah, that's so cool. I was with Coach Carter. The movie Coach Carter. And so I was with Coach Carter yesterday, and his was reset your preset, right? Everybody comes in with these preconceived notions of what things are supposed to be or are going to be, or what's about to happen. But when you reset your preset, nothing can happen that you would have expected, and that is the beginning of all success. Is something that hasn't happened before, right? So that's cool. I like that one a lot. Greg, you got one?
Yeah, I would say if I can go back 5 years ago and talk to myself as if I was about to get started, I would tell myself that all this is marketing, and understand marketing before you move forward.
That's true.
That's the biggest thing. Like, that's all we are. We're a marketing company. Understand marketing, and then you can scale. Don't try to scale without understanding marketing, because you're going to throw away a lot of money, in my opinion.
Man,
Yeah.
that's such a that's an entire another conversation with you guys of like, you know, like let me just throw in like the message, the underlying message that Gregg is communicating is that you have a specific type of data, and that data has pain points. And if you can touch those pain points and attract them to you, then you will be able to close 1 out of 5.662. Right. So it's just understanding what the needs are of these people, communicating those needs and helping them understand that you in fact will be that solution provider, and they will have a good experience. So it's I love that, Gregg. That's a good job.
He really
else?
owned his role, man. He read the book Rocket Fuel, and he was like, what is an integrator? What am I supposed to do? He read the book. The next day he's like, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. And he's just like, ever since awesome. He's just been taking, you know, like I would have made money my whole life, but I'd have been busting my ass really hard to make it. I'd have been out in the streets every day, knocking doors, putting out bandit signs and all that stuff. So
yeah,
you know, without him, man, I don't know where we'd be. We really, everybody at Big Pete's really appreciate him. We got 12 VAs that work for us, and we all appreciate him. So we need him.
That's awesome. Super cool. So
I was going to give another piece of advice. I guess it would be just get out of your own way, right? That's the same thing as, you know, taking imperfect action. But if you don't believe you're going to be able to do this, you're probably not. I mean, you gotta, your mindset is everything, you know. If you're getting out of bed and you're not attacking the day, if you're getting out of bed and you're just, you come up with 10 things to do, but you need to call those 2 sellers, like just call the 2 sellers. Like, you know, what, they don't know who you are. They might not ever see you. They're not going to attack you through the phone. Man, you got to get out there and just do it, you know.
They might attack you through the phone, but they're not going to be able to physically affect you. So get your head straight and you will be fine. I promise. Right?
Just have a good attitude, man. The life's fun. Exactly. Make it fun. So
exactly right. Good for you guys. That's amazing. And what do you guys do to keep your head right? That's something that we talked about in the other, there's so many things to talk about on these things. Yeah. But what do you guys do to keep your head right?
You have hobbies, in my opinion. I'm a big outdoors guy, so I'm playing basketball. I skate, like I'm swimming. I live on the lake, so we're out at the lake every day. We're just you gotta disconnect at times. So I become a prima donna. I become like if I don't get out there and sweat, you know, every day, honestly, then everybody else around me is affected. Everybody can tell, man. You know, I'm not saying I'm out there running marathons or nothing, but I just got to get out there and move around for a little bit. So, yeah,
absolutely. There's science behind why that is. Gregg, what do you do to get your head right?
My biggest issue in the beginning is I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't get my thoughts straight, and I learned the power of meditation. And I think if everybody meditates in the morning every day for 20 minutes, you're going to be all right. That really helped me figure out my thoughts and how to focus my attention on something that need to be, you know, paid attention to.
Yeah. So I agree fundamentally with both of you. I do both of those things, and so for Kenndley, the fight or flight mechanism is what the body is inherently drawn to. And so if you can get your heart rate up, then you're releasing the fight mechanism. So from your body, you're able to get that adrenaline out. You're able to get that extreme approach out so that your body is most likely able to not take extreme approaches to the rest of your day when you're acting and reacting. And meditation is almost self-explanatory, but the ability to be able to clear your mind is a critical function. And if you can't, then you will never be able to give 100% of your energy, which is what this all is, right, to the other human on the other line of the phone, right? Because if you come up and you don't show up, they can tell every single moment. Yeah, exactly. And if you don't love your life,
can be anything for you, right? It doesn't have to be, some people, like Gregg actually does sit there. The way you think of meditation is the way he meditates. I meditate by just getting a basketball, put some AirPods in, and just zoning out for 20 or 30 minutes. And it's just that as long as I can turn my mind off and I'm not reacting for it, I'm just being like, that's my meditation. So, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So the both of those are right too. So my version of that was mountain biking. So mountain biking was you have to focus on the next move or else you will die. So like you don't have a choice. It's just so that was that got me into the mindset of having to focus on one thing. And then I was slowly able to pivot that into an actual meditation practice. And I do 20 minutes a day and 30 minutes of exercise every single day in order to get all the stupidity out of me. And then I can approach the day appropriately. So,
and that it's
cool.
Almost more important than taking the action at times. I mean, if you're, your day doesn't have to start right for you to have a good day, but if you can have a moment in the day where you can just get back to it, right? Everybody's day gets screwed up every day, right? But that I'm all about that, man. You just got to get out there and move around and, start smiling and get outside and enjoy life. So
True. Cool. So we got some contest winners tonight then. That's awesome. So you guys want to go ahead and what's next, Dom? Tell us how we make this thing happen.
Yeah, so we just picked some winners and stuff. We got Rachel Schwartz.
She's gonna be a killer, guys. We're man, I'm so happy for her. I'm so glad she won.
Let these guys announce the winners. Ben back in we have a CMO that's did the contest spinning. So we just put these things on. Let these guys rate off the people.
Yeah, go for it. I put it in the chat there, Greg.
Chris Latoya and Rachel Schwartz and Sydney Player.
Way you're supposed to build it up a little bit, Greg.
All right, let's do it again. Let me get in here and try this.
Yeah, let's do it again. Go ahead, Kenny.
So we got some winners. Our first winner is gonna be Rachel Schwartz. Our second winner is Latoya Mack. Great, and our third winner is Sydney Player. So we're excited for you guys. I hope you can use this data and go make a bunch of money. That's what we do.
Do you guys know any of those people?
I know Rachel Schwartz.
You know Rachel Schwartz? Was that the one you were saying something about? Tell me what you know about Rachel Schwartz?
We were just in a mastermind. She's just getting started. She understands the power of investing in your education to cut out a lot of the bullshit, right? So she's really close to getting her first deal, man. For some people, they just don't get a deal right away, but that's the only thing that matters. And
I didn't hear it. You cut out a little bit. Some people don't get a deal right away, and what?
She's close. She's just I believe she might have got a contract signed today, and if not, it's going to be tomorrow. But we're going to help her. We love her. We're rooting for you, Rachel.
Yep. So Matt Klowick, we got a team of guys I'm so blessed that all I have to do is show up and have these events, and there's people behind the scenes taking care of all of these things. And Matt Klowick is a true softie, and he says, "Tell Chris we'll give him $100 for his efforts." So Chris, good job with all of those efforts. Our softie on the team says, "Let's go ahead and give a courtesy flush."
Love it.
Everyone will get a message probably on Facebook with the coupon codes and everything like that to get you all sorted.
Yeah. Hey, we have a lot of people. We had more people than most of our events today at the peak, so it was really exciting, guys. I really appreciate you guys hanging out, and I look forward to seeing you out there kicking some ass.
Yeah. If you guys ever want to follow up and do another interview about something else, we're here. We're more than willing, and man, we appreciate you guys having us come on here so we can help promote your product that helped us so much. I mean, that's a great way that we can give back. We've made money off of giving you guys money, and I think that's just the best relationship any client and customer can have.
I totally agree.
Yeah. If you want to do any type of, getting started, the first thing you should do to get started, if you want to, we're here to help. We're trying to be go-givers, man. We wouldn't mind paying for a list and skip tracing it for some other people, whatever they want to do. We love to get back to the community. So everybody just, we love you
Reach
guys.
out. Yeah. So that's the critical function, guys. Like I was so happy the other day I was on Clubhouse and someone reached out to me on Instagram, right? And so like I make that offer all the time, and I have lots of interesting things in my brain. Some people want to listen to them and some people don't want to listen to them, but I got things in my brain, you know? And so yeah, I mean, they're encouraging you guys to reach out. I'm encouraging you to reach out to our team, and we'd love to help however we can. It's there's a lot of money to be made out there for everybody, and there are secrets of the trade, and you need to learn them in order to be successful in the business.
Yeah. So go to bigpeachdata.com and use the code sub2 so you can go get a discount on your data.
Bigpeachdata.com, use code sub2. Hey, Matt, if you're listening, we'll go ahead and put that in the comments so everybody can see that there also. But appreciate. Oh no, it's on the screen every single moment. Bigpeachdata.com and then code sub2. Thanks again, guys. I really appreciate it. Happy Thursday, and we'll talk to you again. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
See you soon.